So Savitri has come down, then we have got other stanzas, very beautiful once more. Then flitting like pale, brilliant moths, her hands have become now moths. Took from sylvan was a sunlit arms, the flowers, the trees, the branches which are sunlit, which have become bright because of sun. She has taken from those branches of trees flowers. What are those flowers? A load of the jewel faces clustering swarm. Means the trees are full of flowers and she is plucking those flowers. Savitri is plucking those flowers. A load of jewel faces. So that is how he describes it. Now, this is a transferred description. Instead of simply saying flowers, she has picked flowers. He is saying there are 12 faces clustering swarm, full of flowers are there. Companions of the springtime and the breeze. So they have grown up there in the springtime and the wind is there, breeze is there. It is from those trees she has plucked a lot of flowers. She has come down from the chariot, she goes around and immediately plucks a lot of flowers around. And then what does she do? A candid garland set with simple forms. Her rapid fingers taught a flower song. Stands at movement of a marriage hymn. So the poet is already telling you that what she is singing is a marriage hymn. They are going to get united. It's going to be a marriage, you see. So he is already introducing you that aspect of it. A candid garland. Candid without any disguise. Which is, it's a very beautiful word. Candid, without disguise, straightforward, unposed, in its own natural manner. Basically, the word candid comes from the Latin word candidus. Candidus. And candidus in Latin means shining white. Shining white. Candidum, white, pure, simple, sincere, honest. All the shades are put in that word candidus. White, pure, simple, honest. So her rapid fingers, they are gathering those flowers and they are weaving a very simple, beautiful, unadorned kind of a garland, you see. She has immediately plucked up the flowers and she is now weaving the garland with those flowers, you see. So the story is going very fast here. Now here, grammatically, it's a little complex sentence. A candid garland set with simple forms. Basically, I would read it like this. Her rapid fingers set a candid garland. Her rapid fingers set a candid garland. They formed, they woven all the flowers. That is how you would extend it. What does he put in French? What I'm saying is correct?
The same name, Candide.
Yeah, no, but the sentence about
The sentence, yes. Ses doigts agiles ont tissé une fraîche guirlande candide.
yeah, but does it carry the same? Her rapid fingers set a candid garland.
Yes.
It is that, no?
Same.
It is that, no? He got it correct in English. You see, yeah. Her rapid fingers set a candid garland. Grammatically, that is how you would put. And then the garland of what? With simple forms. There are additional clauses. And then taught how? Taught a flower song, stanzad movement of a marriage. The way she is weaving the garland is like a song. Is like a song. Taught a flower song, the stanzad. It is a stanza structure. Stanza by stanza. She is means one part of the garland, another part of the garland, other part of the garland is making like a poem, stanza. And that is a poem of marriage. It is a marriage hymn. She sings. Actually, marriage hymn in the Rig Veda, there is a sukta, marriage hymn. It is the marriage of Surya in Mandala 10, Sukta 85, marriage hymn. The whole description of marriage is described. We will see that in some time later on, marriage hymn. A candid garland set with simple form, her rapid fingers start a flower song. It stands at moment of a marriage hymn, profound in perfume and immersed in hue. Well, it means that the flowers are really fragrant flowers. She has picked up fragrant flowers. The fragrance of joy is there. They mix their yearnings, colors, signs. Mean what these lovers have, their feelings, their emotions, they are now getting mixed up. They are getting communicated through these flowers. They mixed their yearnings, colors, signs, and made the bloom of their purity and passion one. So it is these flowers when she is going to offer that thing, it is that purity, that passion which is joined together and they will become one. They will get united. That is the marriage hymn. That is the marriage hymn of their coming together and becoming one. And in what way? In the purity and passion of love. Now, that description he carries forward a sacrament of joy. This is sacrament, not the sacrament of baptism, not the sacrament of the religious rite, but it is the sacrament of joy. It is not the sacrament of the Lord's Supper also. It is the sacrament of joy, of happiness, of delight to come. This is a very original, very beautiful phrase in contrast to the religious description associated with sacrament. You see. Normally, you would associate sacrament with baptism or with Last Supper, like that. But here, the sacrament of joy, new things happening this year. Well, actually, in a certain sense, sacrament of joy is the sacrament of the confirmation of a marriage. Sacrament of joy is a confirmation of marriage. That is the sacrament. So it is that which he had described as a sacrament of joy, of their coming together, marriage hymn. She brought flower symbol of her offered life. So she has offered her life to him in the form of flowers. They are the ones who will communicate the true sense of your soul. Flowers. Then, with raised hands that trembled little now, at a very closeness that her soul desired. So she desires him to be very close, but she at the same time trembles, kind of withdraws. This is pure romanticism. And the way Shaivantu describes, he is very fond of such contrasts, you see, in a way. Then, with raised hand that trembled a little now, at a very closeness that her soul desired, the bond of sweetness, their bright union's sign, she laid on the bosom, coveted by her love. She is loving him now, and she is putting the garland around his neck. She is raising her hand and putting the garland around him. She laid on the bosom, on his chest, coveted by her love. She is very close to him now. Now how? So this is what has happened. She has already worn the garland and she has put it now on Satyavan. As if inclined before some gracious God, who has out of his mist of greatness shone to fill with beauty his adorers' hours. She bowed and touched his feet with worshipping hands. Now this is the most beautiful thing. She bowed, she has put the garland on him, and she is bowing down and touching his feet. This is absolutely Indian. I don't think any European or Westerner will do. No girl will do that kind of a thing. She will put the garland and touch his feet. I don't think they will do. Would they?
Other way around.
Huh?
The other way around.
Other way around? Okay.
Yeah, you kneel down and look to the walls. And
Yeah,
down.
yeah. But not touch the
And
feet.
the man kneels on his
Yeah.
knees.
On the other side.
Happens in the Roman Church.
Yeah.
Happens in
Because
the Roman Church.
he becomes her God. The moment
Becomes-
her God.
Okay. I have some difficulty to, I would like to ask you some clarification for the whole. If we consider that Savitri is the divine mother of the divine, coming to save, to save the human being who is Satyabhanda. I can fully understand that the human being is in love with the God, with the soul. But I cannot imagine how the divine mother, she is troubling and enamored.
Well, I mean,
As a human being, I cannot.
no,
imagine.
actually, it only means her complete identification with humanity, with man.
Yeah, but
She has taken
in
the
this
mortal
case,
birth.
Savitri-
She has taken the mortal birth and identified herself in totality with the mortal's way of things and doing. She is divine, but she has taken the human form,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it is that which is now because
the
it is
soul.
yeah
For
it
the
is
soul.
that which is now coming out because it is that which has to get lifted up.
So-
She is suffering like a human being. In fact, more than that, the pan she has taken upon herself the entire suffering of this creation. She is divine. Unless she experiences, unless she goes through that process, she will not be able to solve the problem of suffering in this world.
So she is embodied like a human being.
Yes,
Okay, so if it's like this, in this case, Satyavan now he is in love with the human or
Yeah.
with the divine?
he is also human.
So
He is also
in
love.
love with the
Yeah,
human
yeah,
self.
yeah. So it is getting translated now on the human plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it is through that it has to go up.
Together.
Yeah, 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 yeah. In fact, you see, this is a very beautiful description, very sweet, very enchanting. This is a typical Indian description, of course. She is to fill with beauty, his adorers, ours. She is filling, he is ours with beauty. She bowed and touched his feet with worshipping hands. She made her life his world for him to tread. Yes, come and walk into my life. This is your world, my life. And made her body the room for his delight. Yes, my physical being is there for you to enjoy. Is there for you. Her beating heart, a remembrancer of bliss. Now, a very beautiful discussion, all these things here you see. Actually, well, you see, I don't know whether you heard or not, or perhaps you are aware also. On one occasion, in fact, why on the very first day when Mother and Shivandu met on 29th March 1940, Mother bowed down in front of Shivandu completely. She is divine, he is also divine, but they had taken human form.
If you say like this, I can understand. Okay.
Yeah, she bowed down, and when Shivandu was asked, "What did you see in the mother for the first time?" He told, "I saw in her the capacity of man to completely surrender to the divine. Complete surrender is possible. That is what I saw. And then later on, I think it was during the Second World War when the Cripps mission had come to India, making a proposal for Dominion status independence. Sri Aurobindo had sent his special emissary to Delhi to accept that proposal in 1942, Cripps mission. But it was rejected by our wise people in Delhi. And then Sri Aurobindo said, not Sri Aurobindo. When Sri Aurobindo was asked about it, he said, I had done my Nishkama karma, my desireless work, without expectation of reward, answer. I have done my part of it. My bounden duty I performed. What I am supposed to do, I had done my bounden duty. But then it is said that the mother completely bowed down in front of Sri Aurobindo when this happened. Lord, save us. She used to call him Lord on occasion. Save us at that time, she said. And then later on she said that people had not accepted what Sri Aurobindo had proposed. Now calamity will fall on India. Calamity will fall on India. They are suffering. So what I am saying is, see, on the human level they understand. Still on the human level, she bows down and he also puts his hand on her head like that, you see. So to say.
What time was it when they met?
In 1942.
Yeah, no, in 1914.
Huh?
1914 when they met first in the playground.
No, in the guest room, guest house,
I was in the guest room.
at 4 o'clock in the evening.
4 o'clock.
In the evening. On 14th, 1914, 29th March.
4 o'clock.
Yeah. And in the mother's prayers and meditations, there is a prayer immediately, one whom we met yesterday. She said that, you see. That there is the assurance that the world will be saved. Her life has now become his world to tread. That is what happened in the case of Savitri. She has made her life come and walk into this world of mine. Her body for his delight. I am there at your disposal fully. But then he says, her beating heart, a remembrancer of bliss. Now this word remembrancer is something very beautiful word. Sri Aurobindo is a master of English. Very, very uncommon word. It is rarely used in English literature, this word. And remembers means a person who reminds of things to be done. Who reminds of things to be done. You are supposed to do something. You tell him, look, this is what you had to do. You have become a remembrancer for him. So her heart has become a remembrance of his bliss. Yes, you have been having that bliss. And she's telling, remember that bliss, we have been together. It's a very rich line, you see, a very simple but very rich line, you see, in the connotation. Her beating heart, a remembrancer of bliss. Of course, his bliss here, understood. Because in the earlier two, him to trade, his delight, his bliss. Her heart is now reminding him, look, wake up. This is the world of bliss meant for you, and you have to live in this world of bliss. You see. And then, this is what has happened to Savitri. She has offered herself totally to him, her life, her body, her heart, completely surrendered to him. I am yours. And then what does Satyavan do?